Okay, so today we're going to go through the latest floor plans and the thinking behind the first buy-to-let project. So this is a 1950s semi-detached build, and the purchase price is £106,000. Needs about £10,000 spending on it, and then after that plus all of the other costs, it should be worth about £130,000. So £8,500 profit on day one, but then the plan here is to rent out the property for about 2 years and then benefit from some of the rental income, because the return isn't the greatest at the moment. So the idea is to hold on to it. It's a very hot market. There's not very many amazing deals out there. So let's give you a tour of the property and I'll show you some of the plans, some of the thinking. And then as we start to go through the series, I'll show you some of the actual photos and videos as we progress through the project and when the legals are completed. So this is, if I just turn on the furniture, you can kind of get a bit of a feel for the property. So let's have a look at the 3D version downstairs. So let's have a look. So this is the front of the property, and it's looks quite bland on the outside. So to kind of describe what we've got here, there's a bit of a hill. So the kind of road is here on the right hand side, and then the front garden, there's a small front garden here, kind of slopes down a little bit, and then there's some kind of steps here. So there's no actual drive to the property, it's park on the road. But as you go in, you've got the front door here, and then the property kind of runs the length, and then there's a small side passage or side door here, which essentially is the way into the back garden and also the side/back door of the property itself. So let's have a look on the inside. So this is obviously completely kind of done up and renovated in the model, and this is the thinking at the moment. So today the property is in a really sorry looking state, and it's actually another landlord who previously owned the property, but I think he's a bit of a tired landlord and he wants to spend more time with his children, and he's just not really loved the property over the past few years. You can tell that a smoker lived in the property before. There's some really grim carpets everywhere, and they're all stained from the concrete floor, so I'm assuming there's no damp proof course between the concrete floor and the underlay, which has kind of ruined the carpet over the years. But it just smells really stale, like a smoker's been in there for a few years. So the idea is rip up all of the carpets and just kind of start again on this property. But structurally, it is absolutely fine. There's no major issues, and I've had a survey done on the property, and the worst that was really uncovered was a few damp issues, which I'd spotted at the time of viewing the property. So you walk in, and you've got the stairs just on the right-hand side, and there's a really nice kind of circular window, which is single glazed at the moment, so I'm going to have that ripped out and put in with some double glazing. And strangely, some windows are double glazed and others are single glazed, I've noticed, which is very odd, and I'm not sure why the current owner didn't just do the whole windows in one go, but there you go. So I've got to replace some of those. So you walk in, and there are essentially two different doors here. There's a small kind of under cupboard type door, which is where the electricity meter is, and I think the gas meter is there as well from memory. So in this room, rip up the floors. It just needs a bit of a lick of paint. The walls are very stained, which you can obviously tell the smoker's been in there. There's some kind of shelving at the end of here. I may keep it in, may not. I might take it out just to kind of add a bit more space and open up this room a little bit. But we're going to put down some kind of light oak or ash grey type laminate flooring in here, and then just kind of whitewash or light grey the walls, just to add some simplicity to the room and just brighten it up a little bit. It's not going to be there's no kind of furniture in here. It's going to be let out as an empty, unfurnished buy-to-let property, but some of the furniture will give you an idea of what the property could look like. So as we go into this door here, this is the main living room. So there's a chimney breast in there today, and there is also a fireplace that's open here. So I haven't decided whether to keep it in or whether to board over the fireplace. I may keep it in there for a little bit of character, and I also need to double check where things like plugs are and the aerial for the TV as well. So that is TBC. Some of this isn't fully measured, so a lot of the measurements for this current design is from the survey itself, but I just need to get into the property again and just do some additional measuring, because I definitely know that some of this that I've designed on here isn't quite accurate, so I need to confirm some particular wall sizes. But standard semi-detached living room here, chimney breast in the middle, which takes up a little bit of the floor space. But again, from a budget perspective, I'm not really aiming to knock out the chimney breast and add any space, because we just don't have the budget to do it. We're aiming for about £10,000 to do everything in the house. Most of it is cosmetic, So we should be okay, but I also need to make sure that most of that money is spent on the windows and doors. The front door is a really old kind of wooden one, so that's going to need ripping out and replacing, which is going to be probably about £800 to £1,000 depending on the door. But living room, in here, not really much needs doing. It's just ripping up the carpet. Again, it's stained and horrible. Walls need painting. There is some kind of alcove Artex stuff around the room, and there's also kind of a chandelier piece as well. Again, haven't decided whether to keep it in. We'll have a look at the ceiling, and if it needs replastering, I'll probably just take it off and rip off the alcoving. If the ceiling is okay, then we'll probably keep it and just save a bit of money there. There is, I think, in this room, there's some kind of damp problem below the window. Looks like some kind of rising damp, so when we get into the property and lift up the carpets, what I'll do is I'll take up some of the floorboards and have a look at what is going on there. It might be that it's an old damp issue that has been fixed, because I did note on the survey on the back of the property you can see that there's actually a lot of bits of brickwork where the pointing, so the mortar in between the bricks, is missing and kind of worn away and weathered away. It looks like below the window there's been a bit of new repointing, so it may be an old damp issue that just hasn't been corrected on the inside. So I'm going to double check that, see if the wall is still wet or not, and whether we need to look at it. And sometimes it might just be when you lift the floorboards, you see that there's no ventilation underneath, and that's where some of the rising damp is coming from. So that will need a little bit of investigation. But otherwise for this room, just keeping it nice and neutral. I'm thinking, I was debating whether to keep it white and clean or whether to have some kind of feature wall. So I may go for a kind of navy dark blue in here, because a lot of the buy-to-let properties are very bland in the area, and it doesn't really take much to paint a feature wall with a can of paint, so there's nothing too arduous or expensive there. But if the tenant who moves in does decorate it nicely, there is a lot of potential for the room. So nice cozy living room there. So you come back out of here, back into the main hallway, and then this is here. There's currently not a door, and I may just keep it as an open room, may put a door back on it, not sure. I need to get in the property and just have a bit more of a think about it again. And I'm just going to put a grey carpet in here and continue that throughout into the living room. So in here at the moment, and I'll try and get a photo and share it on the video, there's there's a boarded up fireplace here, but the actual boarding is fading a little bit, so it needs re-skimming and just kind of cleaning up a little bit. Or I may rip it off and just see what's behind and whether there is a nice fireplace that's worth keeping or not. But towards the alcoves, there is currently a built-in old pine cupboard stroke shelving unit. We'll probably get rid of it. And I also noticed on the survey, in the cupboard that's currently in this alcove here, there is a really bad damp problem in the top corner, which also spreads into the kitchen. But I think I already know the source of this, because directly above here is the bathroom upstairs, which is in a very old state. So one of the things to investigate here with the damp problem is it could just be that there's a leaking pipe or there's an issue in the bathroom, and that's going to be all ripped out anyway. So we'll see when we do that, because it might again just be an old water damage damp issue that actually isn't as bad these days, or when the bathroom is ripped out it will end up looking a lot better. Likewise for this alcove, there's another cupboard. I think the wall behind is in a better state, but again, we'll probably take them out. They're kind of really old, nasty pine, wonky wardrobe type shelf things that just takes up space in the room, and I think removing them will open it up and allow the tenants just to put some kind of freestanding storage or furniture if they wish to do that. But otherwise, again, a nice simple room. I think the ceiling here and the ceiling in the hallway is the swirly Artex stuff, so that just needs plastering over and just make it a nice fresh skimmed room. Nothing else really to comment in here. So the thinking is the tenant, is really up to them. They could make this the living room, or if they really wanted to, they could make this the living room, because the layout of the house is an interesting one. There's a wall that's blocked up here, and I need to check whether it's a structural one, but at the moment I have no intentions, due to the budget, to knock through, because you could knock through here, keep the door here, and then block up this one. But we're trying to keep it on a bit of a budget, so I don't really think it's massively worth it. If it was my own home, maybe I would think about it. But what you do is you kind of go into the living room, and then you go through, and then this is how you get into the kitchen. So this is just a wall, and I need to check whether it's solid or structural, but again, not really any intentions. The kitchen is a little bit small. I think it is salvageable in its current condition. So it has some old pine cupboards and front units, and I think all we need to do is just give them a bit of a sand, paint them in some kind of anthracite grey. The worktops are already white, so I think that would look really nice and just modernise it a little bit. And I'll grab some photos, but again, the floor has just got these horrible old white tiles that need bringing up, and then likewise for the wall, they've got the really old traditional square white tiles that just need completely taking off. And I think doing the floor, redoing the tiling, and sprucing up the kitchen cupboards will actually save this rather than requiring a whole new kitchen. But it is a bit of a weird layout because there is a small alcove here where currently the cupboards go into, and there's a really small gap. So it's not the best design in the world, and I might explore whether it's possible to somehow move this wall here to the right a little bit just to kind of square off the room. But it depending on the exact measurements, it might actually not be possible, or it also maybe some kind of load bearing walls. So that's something to look at. But otherwise, I think again a nice feature wall in the kitchen and tile, a bit of a backsplash, that should look really nice. And there's room for a standing fridge freezer just on this back wall with a plug at the top there. So again, quite nice for a family. And I'm going to carry the same ash/light oak laminate from the hallway into the kitchen, just as a bit of a hard floor that has some degree of water resistance in it. And then again here you go towards the back, and this is how you get to the back door. There's this weird wall, and it's kind of a walk-in utility, but the strange thing I've noticed is that the pipes for hot and cold water for the washing machine are currently on this wall here. So it looks like from the photos that the owner and the previous landlord had the washing machine here because the floor is really dirty, as you would kind of expect when you have a washing machine there for a few years. So I don't know whether by the time you put one in here, whether it's actually possible to kind of slip through into the little utility. So I need to have another think about this room and what is the art of the possible. I may end up just kind of running the pipes a little bit further and then turn the washing machine round so it's kind of facing this way, so you make a bit more of the space. And the boiler is there today. It's about 3 years old, so that doesn't need much doing to it. And then as you go out into here, so you've got there's a small kind of like wooden door there, and there's a small kind of outhouse here where at the moment it's just a bit of a kind of brick room where a bit of like outside cold storage that the tenants could use, but nothing too special with that particular room. And then it goes out into the garden, which is absolutely huge. I need to get the exact measurements, but it is a very, very generous garden for the size of the property. Again, nothing crazy in the garden, just needs the grass needs cutting. It's a little bit overgrown from what I've seen from the surveyor's photos and from when I view the property, and the owner isn't looking after the property at the moment. It's no one's in it, so it's empty and no one's cutting the grass, so that's going to be a job and a half when I do eventually get the keys. So this door also will need replacing because it's just a big wooden door with a huge glass pane in it, single glazed glass pane, so that will need replacing just to help the EPC. So that's pretty much it for the ground floor. Now let's head upstairs and I will show you what's going on there. So the stairs, as you remember, if you look at the property, I've not actually aligned this up very well on the modelling software, so ignore my bad alignment, but this wall should match up to this wall here. But you've got the stairs, and the stairs will essentially come into this room here, so this gap is where the stairs will be. And there are 4 different doors. So right in front is the bathroom, and this is one of the bigger parts of the project. It's just a really old bathroom, and if you remember, I was saying downstairs there's some water damage on the wall kind of down here where that pine cupboard is. I think it is something to do with the plumbing or the bath or something in the bathroom that's been leaking over time, and that's what has caused the damage, because otherwise I can't think what else would be causing it, because there's no damage to this internal wall. Therefore I don't think it's coming from the roof, but I will check that out because it needs looking into in a bit more detail. Bathroom needs completely ripping out, and it just looks really old, a little bit worse for wear and a little bit unloved. So I think we're going to go for a nice kind of white tile, and then I may again do a bit of a kind of dark emerald green feature wall just to again make it stand out in an otherwise bland buy-to-let market. So this room needs completely redoing. Tile some of the walls here, so this will be tiled as well, obviously to protect it rather than paint, because that wouldn't be a very clever idea. And then we'll probably have a painted wall. There's also going to be a glass kind of splash guard on the new bath, so that will protect this kind of bit of the window and wall. So I'll probably kind of do tiles up to the window and then do a dark green wall from there, and it can just about fit the bath, the toilet and the sink in here with a little bit of breathing space. And you've got 2 windows. One would be on the side of the house and then this one overlooks the garden. So bathroom is the biggest part of the project. Should be doable, I think, for about £2,000. It's about £750 for a 3-piece suite for the taps and the shower. And then it's just kind of fitting and tiling, which I think will come in at about £1,250. So then you go back into the main landing. This here is the main master bedroom. So you've kind of got a bit of a encroaching wall here from the bathroom, but otherwise a good sized room, can fit in a good king size bed, 2 bedside tables either side, nice double window. I think it actually might be a triple window in the actual bedroom, so there's enough room in here to fit a decent sized wardrobe and have a little bit of breathing space. Again here, I do need to correct the layout a little bit because I think this wall protrudes a little bit more, but until I can get back into the property and properly measure the walls, I think this room is actually a little bit longer and this wall sticks out a little bit more. I think it seems a bit more spacious in person than what it does in the virtual render. But again, a nice sized room. In here, carpet just needs to come up. I think there's a few issues with the floorboards. Again, really simple stuff. And then it's just a little bit of paint and then sprucing up the walls, and this room will be ready to go. And then there's the second bedroom, which you'll go into here. Again, this definitely is not measured to size because you can see the size of this door is incorrect. So I do need to get in and measure it properly. So there's a bit of a kind of walkway as you go into the room here, a little bit smaller, but again, a really nice big window. And this would make a really good secondary bedroom for a double bed. And again, would be perfect for a family really, to fit mum and dad in the main bedroom and then fit the kids in the second and the third bedroom. So again, this room, nothing from memory needs really doing apart from stripping some old wallpaper, taking up the carpets, and then it just needs fixing up the walls and then painting to bring everything back to a really nice standard. And then of course put a brand new nice light on the room, and then this room will be ready to go. And then the last room is the smallest of the three. This is kind of a small single room. It's got 2 single windows though, so loads of light that will come into the room. Perfect for a kid. You've basically got part of the... no, you don't. That is actually still part of the bedroom. So there's enough to fit in a wardrobe here. That's what that is. And then again, a bedside table. You could squeeze a double bed in here, possibly, but otherwise perfect for a single bed or an office or a study if you only need the 2 bedrooms. So that, again, is completely up to the tenant. And same with this room. The upstairs is in really good condition. The walls, I think this room is painted pink from memory, so it's just a matter of priming up the walls and painting them in some nice neutral colours, redoing the light fitting, and again the room should be good to go with a new carpet with not really much to consider. So that's it in a nutshell, really. Where we are at the moment with the process, the house is going through conveyancing. It's been really slow going. The solicitors on the seller's side have been really slow, which is quite frustrating because when I was speaking to the seller, it was actually the seller who did the viewing at the time. He said that he wanted a really quick sale because the house is empty and obviously he's paying for the mortgage and for council tax. And I said, yeah, no problem. You know, you're not in a chain. I'm not in a chain. I'm going to buy it as an investment as well. I can give you a really quick sale. But his solicitors have taken about 6 weeks from the offer being accepted to actually make contact with my solicitors and start to offer the draft contracts. So I need to double check in the next week whether those contracts have actually arrived or not. But hopefully now that they're making a move, we can start to make some progress on this because I'm starting to cost it all up. It should come in at about £9,000. There's about £1,000 contingency on the total project. Most of it is cosmetic. It's just carpets, underlay, flooring, some skimming of the walls to repair them, bit of work in the kitchen, but it's a nice small project. There's nothing really major. Obviously we'll investigate some of the damp issues and hopefully it should take another month or 2 to get through to exchange and completion. But again, because none of us are in a chain, it's going to be a nice quick sale. And then what I'll do is I'm going to create a series on the house and I'll show you the refurb all the way from the beginning, give a proper tour of the property as it stands on day 1 in its horrible smelly state, and then document that process of the refurb, which I think should take about 4 to 6 weeks in total. You'll get to see the transformation of the first buy-to-let project. So really exciting times, and if you're interested in watching the progress of the property, don't forget to hit subscribe and like and follow along on this awesome buy-to-let refurb journey. So thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.